So then to fast forward again, I squared is negative 1. I cubed is negative I. I squared is negative 1 times negative 1, which is 1. What's I to the fifth going to be? Just I, because it's I to the fourth times I, right? And what's I to the fourth? 1 times I is I. What's I to the sixth? Yeah, it's going to be I to the fourth times I squared. So it's 1 times negative 1, which is negative 1. What's I to the seventh? Okay, it's going to be I squared, I'm sorry, we can do that, times I to the fourth times I, right? Well, this is 1. This is negative 1. Negative 1 times I is negative I. Okay? Do we see a pattern? What's the next one going to be? 1. What's the next one going to be? I to the ninth. What's that going to be?
I.
It's going to be I. What's the next one going to be? Oops. So I to the 10th. What's I to the 11th? What's I to the 12th? 1. So every fourth one is going to be 1, right? And every third one's going to be negative I, and every second one's going to be negative 1, and the first one's always going to be just I, right? So what's I to the 23rd?
It's going to be a third 1. Correct.
It's going to be what?
These 24 would be the fourth, or the sixth, fourth term.
Yeah.
So that would be a third term.
Okay, so what is it?
Negative 1.
Negative I.
Oh, negative I.
Okay, so let's back up. I is I. I squared is negative 1. We're recapping what we just did. I cubed is negative I. And I to the fourth is 1. Okay? So he's saying this is my first. This is my second. This is my third. This is my fourth. He thought through this perfectly. He's saying I to the 24th would be 1. So this is the 1 before that. The third term, he just remembered the third term wrong. It's going to be negative I. Okay? So what would I to the 53rd term be? I to the 53rd.
So 54 is 6, so that puts it at 2, so it would be I.
Slow down a little bit.
52 would be the fourth term, so that's the first term.
What's that?
52 would be the fourth term, so
Right.
that's the first term.
52. 48 is a multiple of 4, right? So 52 is the next multiple of 4. And this is 53, so it's the next first term, right? So what is it?
It's I.
It's I.
That's what I did.
Okay? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because I went to 54, and 54 is 9 times 6, and a sixth term, since it loops, would be the second, it'd be 1 before that.
Okay. When you started saying 6, I thought you were off track.
Yeah, but the 6 just makes it so it goes through 4, and then it goes through 2 again.
I got you. You handled it well. All right. Any questions on this? Oh, let's back up. We skipped the I can for the recording. Here's your I can statement. And we just went through that. So here we go. I'll pause this so you can copy it down. Just in case you're copying this at home, this is the same as I had in handwritten form before. Let me try cleaning this up too. Just We'll make sure that everybody copied this first part down. An iteration is a process of repeatedly applying a function to the output produced by the previous input. When using complex numbers with functions, it is traditional to use z for the independent variable. And probably I should call that small z. Okay? For example, f of z is equal to 3z plus 1, so f of 1 is what? 3 times 1 plus 1 is 4, right? What's the next term going to be then? 7. No, 11.
Yeah.
3 times 4 plus 1, we take
That's
the output of this one becomes the input of the next one.
That's 13.
That would be 13 or 11.
2 times 4 is
Did I
12.
say 11?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why I said that. I was thinking
And
12
then you
plus
plug
1.
13 in for z and just keep
Yeah,
going.
yeah, that'd be the iteration. Okay,
Yeah.
now, just so you're aware, a plus bi and a minus bi are called complex conjugates. And so to rationalize the complex numbers, you must use complex conjugates. Let's finish copying that down and we'll rationalize this. What's the conjugate of 3 minus 2i going to be?
3 plus 2i.
3 plus 2i. So we multiply top and bottom by 3 plus 2i. Okay? So remember, when you're multiplying by the conjugate, we don't have to worry about the outer and inner two terms. We just worry about the first two and the last two. Okay? So on top, I have to FOIL the whole thing. I'm going to pause on that for a moment. And I'm going to do the bottom. What's 3 times 3? 9. Minus, what's 2i times 2i?
4i squared.
4i squared. What did we say 4i squared was?
1. No.
Negative 1. So I squared is negative 1, so 4i squared becomes negative 4, so we end up with
9 plus 4.
plus a negative, right? I'm sorry, minus a negative becomes plus the positive.
So 13.
Excuse me. So we get 2 plus, that's a 2, plus I times 3 plus 2i over 13. Now, the only reason I pause on the top is sometimes the bottom is a factor that cancels, okay? And I know it's not looking like that's the case here, but sometimes strange things happen. And if it's in factored form on the top, like it is right now, if I ended up with the same thing, it would cancel. Well, we know we're not going to end up with an I, but it might be easier if I got like a 2 here instead and I had 2 even numbers here and here, then I could cancel that out of there and simplify it. So we're going to have to FOIL the top. And so 2 times 3 is,
6.
I'm going to go this way, 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 times 2i is plus 4i, and then I times 3 is plus 3i, and then I times 2i is plus 2i squared, do we say 2I squared was?
Negative.
-1. So that makes this a -2 plus 6, which is what?
4.
So 4 plus 4I plus 3I becomes plus 7I over 13. Now, books are very inconsistent. When I was in school, I know, when I had to walk to school both ways uphill, snow deep up to my waist, okay?
This is a long time ago.
I know, it's before dirt was discovered and fire knew what it was and all that kind of stuff. But when I was in school, we weren't allowed to leave it this way. Today our books are very inconsistent in how they ask you to leave it. If they say A plus BI form, then they literally meant an A number plus a B number times I.
So multiply by 13.
And so, no, we would break this up into individual fractions. My A number would be 4/13. My B number would be 7/13 I. And if this was a minus, then it would say plus a negative 7/13 I. Okay? If it were a minus. In this case, it's not a minus. Okay? So we'll have to play it by ear and how the book's leaving the answer on that, on what they're looking for. Okay? All right. Any questions on how to rationalize that imaginary number, complex number? Okay?
What?
I don't know what the boy found the table.
Seems like I had a journal question.
This is really good.
It was a shocking. Oh, look, I think it's
Explain what happened. Explain what
I
happened.
think they found the
really
dead
don't
guy.
know.
Who's
I
Scott?
like those math questions.
I think it's the
So if you're at home, you Google this and find the answers for us. I have no idea what that is.
You gotta find out what book it is too.
Yeah.
Maxie.
One of